Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, and also welcome to a brand new NFL year as today at 3 o'clock Central Time, the official start of the 2022 NFL season. So deals have started to become official across the NFL this week, which obviously started on Monday, but now those have started to become official, including a couple of the Bears transactions as well. That being said, I want to get you guys caught up in the latest news and rumors around free agency. Rumors heavy show. Let's get into it. Number one, could the Bears sign Julio Jones? Yes, we are going to explore this here on today's show because the Bears need a receiver, and Julio Jones is available all of a sudden. As Diana Rossini and Adam Schefter broke the news earlier today that the Titans are planning on releasing Julio Jones. It was later confirmed that he will be released as a post-June 1st designation, but he is available to sign immediately for other NFL teams. Now, a lot to consider with Julio. Let's take a look at his past two seasons for one. 2021 this year with the Titans after they traded for him last year. Played in 10 games, was in and out of the lineup with injuries, only 31 catches, 434 yards, only one touchdown. You look at his last season in Atlanta, only 9 games played, more injury issues. 51 grabs, 7-71, and 3 touchdowns. Still explosive, but he's been nicked up a lot the last 2.5 years. There's no doubt injuries have slowed Julio Jones down. You can't dispute that. Now, I would still argue that when he's healthy, he's a really good number 2 receiver. And that's really what the Bears could use, right? Sure, you'd like to have a true alpha male number 1, but who's out there that could fill that role? Pretty much nobody. I mean, you're not going to get – Devontae Adams is staying in Green Bay, so you're not going to find that guy. You get Julio. If he's healthy, it's definitely very interesting. Now, Darrington Evans, a new member of the Bears, kind of a scat back running back. We'll see if he makes the roster. But he tweeted this out. Would love to see Julio in a Chicago Bears jersey. Could be biased, but still him, basically saying Julio is still Julio. He is still a good player. By the way, it's live elite handle for Darrington Evans there. Listen, it would come down to money. We'll explore this moving forward, but I'll simply ask you, should the Bears sign Julio Jones? He's 33 years old now. Type S for sign, type P for pass. We'll explore more on this topic after this YouTube ad break. Should the Bears sign Julio Jones? I mentioned it before the ad. He's 33. He's got injuries that have built up the last couple of years. I'm not giving out major money for Julio Jones. Now, we're talking about a major player throughout his career. This is one of the best receivers of his generation. He's going to the Hall of Fame when you look at his career. When his career is done, he should have over 1,000 catches, 15,000 plus yards if he has a couple of healthy seasons here. The one thing that's held him back is touchdowns, but he's still going to be able to push upwards of 70, 80 touchdowns. I think Julio Jones is one of the best receivers post-2000, but he's not that guy anymore. Can he come in and be a wide receiver too for a fairly cheap contract? That I would be open to. 1 year, $6 million, 2 years, $12 million. Would I be open to something like that for Julio? Yeah, I think I would. You don't get younger by doing that, but he helps fill the void. I still think when healthy, he's a good player. Yes, be prepared for him to miss some time, but if it's cheap enough, I'd consider it. I would consider it if I was Chicago. He's not a guy I'd go all in for. I wouldn't pay him, $10, $12, $13 million per year. I don't think he'll get that on the open market. But if the contract is cheap enough, I would consider this for Chicago because he's the type of receiver, when healthy, that I think would fit with Justin Fields. Now, guys, NFL free agency, it's absolutely on fire. So this is the time to subscribe to us here at Chicago Bears Now. We crossed 44,000 subs earlier today. Thank you guys for that. The trek to 45K is now underway. Hit that big red button and subscribe. It's youtube.com/Bears Now. Do not miss any of our coverage here on Chicago Bears Now. All right, Danny Trevathan officially released as we move on from Julio. This was kind of unofficially official last week. Nothing could happen until today, but that has been confirmed. Danny Trevathan released. Courtney Cronin and others had this note. The Bears announced a flurry of moves, yada, yada, yada. Khalil Mack trade became official, obviously. So did cutting Eddie Goldman, Tariq Cohen. Also releasing Danny Trevathan, presumably designated as a post-June 1st cut, which would come with about $3.3 million in savings. I fully expect this to be a post-June 1st cut, because if it's a pre-June 1st cut, it actually costs you more money than it would have been to just keep the guy, and that's not going to happen because he is gone. So I expect this to be announced as a post-June 1st cut. It came down to Trevathan wasn't the same guy. He was decent in 2020, played in all 16 games after he got that 3-year deal from Ryan Pace. Last year, couldn't stay healthy, only played in 5 games, didn't have the same speed and explosiveness. He had a good run in Chicago, he did. But Ryan Pace signing him to that 3-year deal, quite frankly, was a bad decision. He paid Trevathan for what he was, not what he was going to be moving forward. We saw it toward the end of 2019. He was starting to slow down. 2020, he started very slow, picked it up a little bit, but still wasn't the same guy. And then last year, couldn't stay healthy. Even when he was out there, he was not the same player. Alec Ogletree was playing over him, and he was on the streets when the Bears signed him during training camp. This depth chart, obviously very loose. I'm not sure if Ogletree will re-sign as he's a free agent. Obviously, a lot of the backups are free agents as well. Nicholas Morrow and Roquan Smith, presumably your top 2 linebackers, at least for now. I expect this team, whether it's in free agency or in the draft, to add one more linebacker that is a quality player, whether it's your number 3 guy or your number 2 guy, and then Morrow becomes your number 3. We'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. Now, I want to say thank you to Danny Trevathan. I know he wore number 6 this year, but that's not the Danny Trevathan I remember in Chicago. Type 59 to say thanks to him. Had a good run in Chicago. Signed in 2016, played really, really well. Not his fault that Ryan Pace gave him a bad contract at the end of the day. So type 59 to say thank you to Danny Trevathan. Now, guys, I would thank you if you followed me on the Rumble app. If you want more exclusive Chicago Bears content, we're publishing our videos over there, plus some bonus segments from time to time. Rumble.com/BearsNow is the place to go to follow us. I'm not going to lie, we're getting beat by a lot of our other channels at Chat Sports and Rumble followers, so got to catch up, got to help us out. Rumble.com/BearsNow. Help us out. Give us a follow over there to support this show. All right, let's stick with linebacker. Ryan Pace paid the wrong guy in Danny Trevathan. He should have paid Nick Kwiatkoski. Could Ryan Poles fix that mistake? Potentially. How about bringing back Kwit, as he was released earlier today by the Las Vegas Raiders, but he is a guy that I would be interested, again, for the right price. Now, he only played in 8 games in 2021. Not surprised to see him cut. Last year, he was in and out of the lineup with injuries. The Raiders ended up going in a different direction, and now their new regime has released Kwiatkoski. But the 2 prior seasons, he played really well. His last season in Chicago and his first season in Vegas, played in 28 games. You see the production. 2019 was really nice with the Bears. He only started 8 of those games, and he still had 76 tackles, 4 pass breakups, a pick, and a forced fumble. Had those same numbers in Vegas in 2020 as well. I thought Ryan Pace should have chosen Kwit over Trevathan because he was the younger ascending player. He chose Trevathan. That was a mistake. I think if you get Kwit for the right price, and this is your 3 linebacker duo, Roquan Smith, Nicholas Morrow, and Kwiatkoski, who those 2 guys know each other, by the way, from their last couple of seasons in Vegas. I think that's pretty solid. You got your superstar in Roquan, you got your speedy coverage, athletic guy, Nick Morrow, and then Kwiatkoski, who's a really good run stopper. They all can do a little bit of different things, with obviously Roquan doing a little bit of everything because that's what superstar players do. It'd be solid. I wouldn't mind it. Could you get him for like $3-4 million on a 1-year deal? Maybe give him the Morrow signing. That could be an option as well. Should Chicago bring back Nick Kwiatkoski? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. I'd be cool with it. I think your linebacking room would be set. Caleb Johnson could be a backup. Maybe you bring back Christian Jones for cheap to be a backup as well. I think you'd be in a good spot at the linebacker position. I forgot to hit this one earlier today on our morning video. We had so many stories to cover, but I did want to mention Raiders have signed Bilal Nichols. So they released a former Bear in Kwiatkoski, and now they sign a Bear from this past season in Bilal Nichols. pretty decent deal for him. 2 years, $11 million. I thought he could get a little more, $5.5 million per year though. 2020 was his best season last year. Kind of dipped a bit, finished strong, but 5 sacks 2 years ago, 3 sacks last year, 11 sacks in total in 4 seasons with the Bears. So he moves on. Obviously, Chicago signed Larry Ogunjobi to fill that 3 technique role. With Nichols exiting, Akeem Hicks, I expect him to be gone as well. I just have him penciled in there for now until he signs elsewhere. Maybe Kyrus Tonga starts. Maybe Angelo Blackson's a starter on this team. Maybe you go sign another defensive tackle. I would expect that to be the case, that the Bears go get one more DT, maybe in the draft after paying pretty good money to Ogunjobi, and then this defensive line is set, assuming Robert Quinn and Travis Gibson are kept. You've got some decent depth on the edge as well. So I like how this defensive line shapes up. I did not expect Nichols to come back after Ogunjobi signed, and that's not surprising. Speaking of Ogunjobi, Ryan Poles met with the media and talked about the Bears' big signing earlier today, said, quote, "Larry embodies everything we are looking for in a Chicago Bear. His leadership, toughness, energy, and violent style of play on top of being so dominant at his position." I'm excited for him, and I think you Bears fans should be excited as well. So what's next? Last night we got a couple of moves, and Nick Morrow and Lucas Patrick. I was drawing a blank there. If the Bears make a big move tonight, I will have a video for you guys, whether we're in the studio or at home. So appreciate that support. But take a guess in the comments. What will the Bears do next in NFL free agency? Like I mentioned just now, if the Bears make another move, whether we're in the office or at home, I'll be cranking out a video for you guys if it's significant enough. YouTube.com/BearsNow. We have fun doing this. We do it for you guys, and you guys subscribing is really the easiest way to support, and it's 100% free. So I would appreciate if you want to subscribe, if you haven't already, give us a chance. I promise you won't be disappointed. With that being said, we will sign off, and we'll see you next time here on Bears Now.